Welcome to EAK TV. I'm here, very happy to be here with Roger Ver, the CEO, founder of Bitcoin.com.
Thanks for having me.
How are you finding Delta Summit so far?
I'm overwhelmed by how many people are here and how much stuff is going on, and the turnout is absolutely incredible. It's a much, much bigger conference than I was expecting. Malta's really taking the lead when it comes to cryptocurrency stuff.
So in your opinion, what is the fundamental difference between the Maltese government approach to blockchain as opposed to larger jurisdictions like the US?
Did you write that question specifically for me? Malta's actually embracing the technology of the future. The people here are smart and they realize that you can't stop technology. Technology is what makes our lives better, and Malta's right here embracing it, whereas the US is, if anything, they should be embracing it in the US, but they're not to the same extent that they are here in Malta, so great job, Malta.
So I understand in the past you've donated to the likes of antiwar.com. How do you think that cryptocurrency can prevent war?
So I think you wrote this question for me too. So if you look around the world, most of these wars are funded by printing fiat currency that they can then spend to use to buy these guns and bombs and tanks, then kill people around the world. If the entire world starts using a cryptocurrency with a limited supply, it strips away government's ability to inflate the currency to pay for all these wars. So that's one of the things that's the most exciting for me about digital currencies.
Okay, so in your opinion, how important of a role will government play in blockchain?
For better or for worse, government plays a huge role in everybody's life, and that's just the world that we live in. But I think that cryptocurrencies can be used as a tool to minimize the amount of interference that governments do have in peaceful people's lives, and I think that's a good thing. And I'm looking forward to building the tools to make it so people have more control over their own finances and their own lives. And we just saw right before we started filming how easy it is to use the Bitcoin.com wallet. No sign up, you don't give your name, you don't give your email, you don't give your tax ID number, and you can then send and receive permissionlessly any amount of money with anyone, anywhere in the world just like that. That's incredibly liberating for all of humankind, regardless of what country the individual happens to be living in.
Okay, so let's fast forward 50 years. We're still alive, very old, but we're still here. How far do you think blockchain will have come?
In 50 years, I think we're going to see superhuman intelligences in machines. And once the machines start designing the next generation of the machines that are going to be smarter than us, I think all bets are off, and I think that's likely to happen within our lifetime. But I'm pretty confident that those machines will be using cryptocurrency as the currency, not round pieces of metal that were dug up out of the ground thousands of years ago.
Okay, so as a new asset class, cryptocurrency has never been through a global recession. How do you think it would react in a global recession?
I don't think it can be any worse than what happens with traditional global recessions with quantitative easing and economic stimulus packages, which are just fancy names for counterfeiting up a bunch of money and giving it to the friends of the politicians. So that sort of thing can't happen with cryptocurrencies with a limited supply.
So cryptocurrencies, it's alleged, has a chance to separate the creation of money from the state, right? What effects will this have on society if it's truly realized?
It'll increase the rate of economic growth of the entire world. It'll lead to a more civilized society in which you don't have one small group of people forcing other people to use the type of money they say they have to use. It's going to make the entire world a better place. And if you want the entire world to be a better place, you should start advocating for these things right now today and get as much adoption as fast as you can, as quickly as you can.
So I understand that you have been working on the Free Society. Could you tell us a little bit more about what that is and what that involves?
Sure. So we have more than $100 million US of traditional, US dollar capital committed, and we're looking to have an ICO equivalent, but we're not supposed to use the word ICO, the lawyers say. But we're looking to have a way for the public to participate, and the idea is to find a government around the world and pay them a whole bunch of money for a bunch of land that they'll actually grant sovereignty to, and we'll set up the world's very first non-country in which all human interactions are basically set by the initial constitution. And we'll basically see what happens when you don't have a government and people have to get along voluntarily, and we'll see what sort of institutions the market gets to come up with. And that sort of thing has never been allowed to be tried before. And so if you're a libertarian, you should be incredibly excited about it. And if you think governments are incredibly necessary and wonderful things, you should be excited about it, because if we fail, you'll be able to point to our failure and say, see, that's why we need a government. So whether you believe in the state or you don't, you should support this project, and you can learn more at freesociety.org.
Have you found anywhere where you think you might be able to set this up?
So the main guy that's actually supposed to be executing on all this is a European citizen, and sadly the European government has been giving him a really hard time recently, so he's been busy dealing with all that sort of thing. So we've been delayed a bit on that front, but I'm looking forward to moving ahead faster in the next year.
Great, looking forward to hearing more about that. So obviously mass adoption of cryptocurrency requires a high level of trust. Although it can give people economic freedom, how willing do you think people are willing to risk their life savings, like if they lose their private key?
I don't think I agree with the premise of the question that using cryptocurrencies requires a high degree of trust. I think using fiat currency requires a high degree of trust because you have to trust the politicians not to debase the currency. And we see time and time and time again where governments just print up a bunch of that currency and it becomes worthless. So within my lifetime, and I'm not that old of a guy, one Zimbabwe dollar was worth more than one US dollar. And the Zimbabwe government printed a bunch more of them, and now it's like 100 trillion Zimbabwe dollars for one US dollar. And we're seeing the same thing happen in Venezuela right now, and it happens time and time again with fiat currencies around the world. So I think, if anything, you can say that cryptocurrencies require less trust than using traditional government-issued currencies.
Okay, and finally, do you have any updates you can share with us? Anything that you're working on at the moment that you would like to share with our listeners?
So I'm working on the exact same thing I've been working on for 8 years, which is peer-to-peer electronic cash for the world, in which anyone, anywhere, can send and receive any amount of money with anyone instantly, basically for free, and there's nothing anybody, including governments, can do to stop it. That's what drives me to get up in the morning every day, and I think the best tool we have to achieve that today is Bitcoin Cash, and that's why we're promoting it at Bitcoin.com. And if you haven't tried it already, go to free.bitcoin.com. We're giving away free Bitcoin Cash from our faucet there to anybody that visits it at free.bitcoin.com.
Fantastic. Okay, guys, that's EOK TV. That's Roger Ver. Thank you for your time today.